I don't like your
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the HollingsWorthless program. I am one of your hosts, Big Irish J. Hollingsworth, and as always, we have cocaine. If this is somebody's first time listening, they'll be like, "What's wrong with that dude's voice?"
It's my Michael McDonald. Welcome to the HollingsWorthless.
It's a worthless Wednesday, and you gonna get it.
And we got a new segment.
Hoity-toity Tuesdays. Jeez. Hoity-toity on Tuesday. Oh, fuck. This is for Wednesday, February 27th.
It smells like fucking shit in here.
Nice. so, like the fucking interviewing the cop, and I think it's because it smells like shit. Yeah, Kane took a big old pooper. So
No, I did not. It was your dirty butthole.
Look at these pink shoes.
Look at your
People
pink
watching
ass shoes,
Dude,
yo.
these are dope. These Ultra Boosts, they're
Man.
sick. Anyways, so much to go over. So we're recording this on Monday. I literally just got back from San Antonio. Spent the weekend filling in for Tony Baker on the Real Comedians of Social Media, which is Kev on Stage, To Hear More, and Tony Baker. And so they do churches, and it's squeaky clean. And I don't know if did I talk to you at all during the weekend?
We haven't talked until yesterday.
Okay, so we flew out Friday morning. We flew out Friday morning, went to Lafayette, Louisiana. Ooh. And before that show is the most nervous I've probably ever been before a show.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because so many, and like Kev just he's like, "Jay, why? You're funny." I was like, "No, I know. It's the thing. It's like they've established something, and I don't want to mess this up. I don't want to disrespect the church. I don't want to disrespect his audience, his fans." So I was going through my set over and over and over again, changing certain things. Like I have the joke about, we may have you go shirtless, and I'm like, dude, I don't even fuck shirtless. So I changed that to I don't even shower shirtless.
That's funny.
It was, it definitely does, but I can't use the other tags that come after that.
Right.
And then I was trying to think. It was cool because Jason Fredericks, Kevin's brother, who's he's Kev's manager. He had a birthday, so like they were talking about that first show. They were like, "Yeah, Jason just had a birthday." Blah blah blah. Everybody's cheers it up. And so when I went out, that was my opener. As I was like, "Jason just had a birthday. I got a birthday coming up, and I'm about to turn 48." And people, and I was like, yeah. So apparently, because Jason was like, "Black don't crack," and I was like, yeah, fat don't crack. So immediately that was a good opening, got a laugh, and then went into my set, and it was so the first show of the weekend. Like Kev kept telling me to do the blacks joke that you can't pluralize black. I'm like, I'm not gonna do. Are you crazy, dude? I'm like, here's the other thing too: is the other pressure on this tour or on these shows. Was Tony Baker. People love Tony. He's got a huge following, and he's an awesome comic. And so, Tahir hosts it, and he goes up, and then Tony usually does 30, and then Kev does like 45. So
how long does Tahir do?
Like 15 to 20.
Oh, yeah.
When he's to there. I did that joke when we were so Tahir is mentioning to them that Tony's not there, and I'm sure
you just hear
that was the fear. I'm like, I had no idea how people were gonna embrace
and
me.
To replace this Tony Baker, or what everybody bought tickets to, this white devil.
Yeah. I like, you don't know how you're gonna be embraced. But Tahir is an amazing host, which I'll get at that later. So he mentions, Tony's not here. He's had vertigo or something. And he's trying to get that figured out. And Tahir was like, "But we got this great comic. He's unbelievable. You're not gonna believe it when you see him." Blah 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 blah. Big Irish J. Everybody very great claps and everything. And yeah, it was. Everybody was very accepting, and
Did they know you from Aska? Does anybody know you
some did, yeah, some did. Some I think knew me from All Def Digital, and some had no idea. There was the show last night. A white lady, one of the few white audience members, she came up to me afterwards and like, I get what she was trying to say, but like the way she was saying, I was like, geez. She was like, oh, you're so funny, and you're one of mine, or like one of us, or something like that. I'm like, and we're like leaving, and like I'm like, yo, there is literally only a few of us right here, and that term you're using is probably not good. And then she tweeted out or Instagrammed out and tagged me in it. Like, oh, this guy hadn't heard of this guy. He's so funny. I usually only really like black comedians, but he was so funny. And I was like, thanks,
I guess.
Yeah, but no, Kev's fans and supporters, Kev, Tony, and Tahir, all of them are so nice and great. And that first show was in Lafayette. All the guys on the tour were like, oh, dude, that was great, you killed it, blah blah blah. And I was so, you know how you are, like you're so stressed that it felt like that set I did after I was sick for like a month with the rash thing and my knee surgery where I hadn't gone up for like a month. So I was just like so, like certain words. Okay, here you say this word. Oh, like I said, what was another thing I changed? Oh man, I'm trying to remember the whole set. I talked about my dad. I did the jokes about my dad. I did the Christian rap bit. Oh, the Christian rap bit. Kev didn't want me to say the line, I don't love them hoes. I only love the Holy. So I cut that part out and had to just go right to the next line. And there was another one that it's so interesting, like the little changing of certain words, but it was squeaky clean. And I also did I grew up in a predominantly black neighborhood, all black church, all black school, blah, 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 whatever white people say before they say something about black people, and that did great.
Just kind of erupted.
Yeah, the whole thing. After that first night, and I got my sea legs, it was great. And everybody was so nice, and it was awesome. And to hear so the show last night in San Antonio, the audience at first they were a little stiff, and I tweeted this out about Tahir because I was so like impressed at what he was doing as a comic, like what you would recognize as a comic watching him, not as like an audience member or just enjoying his stand-up. But he was on stage, or in this church, he's on what is it? Is it called stage? Yeah. Okay.
It's the stage, the platform.
We're so done with church stuff.
In the church. I would say it'd be on a stage.
All right.
On the marquee.
There's a certain term that Kev and Jason kept saying.
It escapes me.
All right. Well, Tahir's on that thing, stage or whatever.
He's on the cross. Me. No, Jesus.
That's yours to bear now. So Tahir's up there though, and like they were really stiff, and he's hitting them, and these are good jokes. He's hitting them, and they're like, it's not that they don't like him or they're not finding him funny. They're just not giving it up like the other shows had and how the audiences should. So he said something about, I think, EBT cards or food stamps, and like people were like hemming and hawing about it. So he had them turn the lights on, and he started going. He got off and walked down into the stage, and I'm just watching him. I'm like, dude, he's like, we've both of us have always said like Ralph Porter's probably one of the best hosts we ever seen.
Yes,
I would put Tahir up there at the same level, if not higher. I mean, it was masterful watching him just adjust, change gears. Okay, you're not responding to this. I'm going to go over to this technique, or maneuver. Mm-hmm. Okay, you're responding on this. I'm going to dig down into this more. And like, it's so interesting that the audience, they just are laughing, and that's great. But as a comic, I'm like, they have no idea the tricks and the gymnastics he's doing as a comedian,
right?
To get them to that level.
Yeah, because then you could then, if you're a different kind of comic, and I think I fall into this category where you're like, okay, my act isn't working, so what I'll do is I'll work the crowd and then
get hostile.
Yeah, or I'll get them on my side at least, and then once I've found something, okay, cool, now they're on my side. And then I fall back into material, and they're like, no.
Yeah.
And that's, as you're saying, it's like, I can, there's times where I don't know how to continue beating into that thing that they like. I just go, well, I didn't prepare that. I prepared this.
Yeah.
And that's all my brain knows right now. Is to fucking fall back on that.
It's like, I couldn't do what he was doing, like, as a host, like, I think we both have had those points where you just get mad. You're like, you dummies, why aren't you laughing at this?
What the fuck do you want?
Yeah, dude, it was great though. And then we're doing another show, or I'm doing a show with them, I should say, Wednesday, filling in for Tony one more time. And and then I, like, every show I did videos like where the whole crowd's like, we missed you, Tony, and everything, you know.
I saw those.
Yeah, he's and people, you know, they love him. But everybody was, and I would thank the audience as I was, like, before I got done, I would be like, thank you guys for welcoming me. I know I'm not Tony. I'm just trying to be a good six man, you know, and I'm not what you were, you know, a lot of you had paid to get the full thing of the tour. But, you know, Tony's trying to get better and everything. And so I just thank them for, you know, being gracious and welcoming of me, because it definitely could have gone the other way.
Oh, yeah.
But it was awesome. That was great. And Kev, like, and I only got to watch Kev's set really last night, and I mean, he crushes. It's like it's that cool thing about, like, we've talked about before. You know, you find your audience and the people that are on board with you through thick and thin, and he has his audience, and he's not like pandering, because it's him, you know, and. It was fun to watch him. He's got some funny stuff. He had this one bit where he's talking about, like, people that, like, you know, like, oh, I had this ailment, and then I found the Lord, and blah, blah, blah. He gets on his knees and starts, like, running in place, but on his knees.
Oh.
Like, and he's just going back and forth. He's like, I didn't have any legs, and then now I have legs. It's the funniest thing, dude.
He's going to hurt himself.
He had to buy knee pads. He got knee pads at one point. And I also, Tahir is known as, like, the prankster, I guess, on the tour. So he always takes the bag tags, and he winds them up, and he puts them in Kev's stuff all the time. Like, Kev will go to put his shoes on, there'll be tags in there, and he'll just throw them at him because he's so mad. And like, we were outside, Tahir was already at the place, and Kev and I were coming late, and Kev, he reaches in his pocket, and he goes, God, he's like, Tahir! And there's this thing there. So what I did, because I was rooming with Tahir when he was gone, you know how hotels always have a Bible? Mm-hmm. Well, they had a Mormon and a regular Bible, and regular Bible, that's probably good.
Had a Mormon Bible and one of them earlier Christian Bibles.
Yeah, King James and a Mormon Bible, and so I took the Mormon Bible and I put it in his bag.
Nice.
Which, whenever me and my buddies used to go to Vegas, we'd always take a Bible and put it in somebody's bag, and then they would go home and they'd be unpacking and be like, what the fuck?
And then they'd open the Bible and there'd be a shit in it. Right, guys? Right? I don't know. I was just trying to make the prank funnier.
Worked.
What else did you do?
That was about it. I mean, we can move on.
What else did you do to the Bible?
Nothing. It's cool.
Rub your dick on it?
Oh, my gosh. Dude. What'd you do this weekend,
I just like how uncomfortable you get now that you're rolling with the Christian guys, that I can't take a shit in a Bible.
You can do whatever the oh man. Oh. You know what the beauty is, though, of, like, so Kev, you can do whatever the fuck you want, I was about to say, but then I was like, whoa, I don't know. Like I always say, so Kev is the thing I respect about Kev as a Christian is he is the kind of Christian like my buddies James and Ty and Matt. Like James and Ty are a couple, and their daughters call me like Uncle Jason, and they're Christians. Matt and Mark, their dad was pastors and stuff, and they're all Christians, but they're not like. You don't ever feel like if you were doing whatever around them, like, oh man, they're like judge them. They don't like I think Kev had a description for it, like hammer the Bible onto you, you know.
Right.
And I think it's more of a like lead by example type thing.
Right.
You know, like Kev talks the talk and he walks the walk, and he's a good dude, you know.
My uncle was he belonged to this church and was like well known in this church until him and his wife got a divorce, and then they ousted him from they blackballed him.
What kind of religion?
Church. Christian.
Wow.
They're just like,
I don't understand that, dude.
Hardcore Christian. You don't get divorced. You work through it. And he's like, wasn't my idea. It's like, I wanted it. She didn't want to be in the marriage anymore. Yeah, we're going to keep her from, we're going to lock her up. No, you're mine.
Oust her.
Yeah, exactly. I'm still coming to church. I need friends. This is like, that's what they say about church is like in the moment of need. I'm in my moment of need. Sorry, man. You broke a commandment. Well, fuck, I tried. She served me. What am I supposed to do? She served me with divorce papers.
Jesus.
Then she took a shit in my Bible.
Oh, dude, also I got to tell you about when we were so we did Lafayette, then Austin, then San Antonio. In Austin, this guy Bishop that grew up with Kevin.
Is he a bishop? Oh, man. His name's Bishop?
Yeah.
Is he a bishop in the church?
No.
Is he like X-Men? Sorry.
Oh, my God. Oh, man. So, Bishop, no, not an X-Man or a bishop in the church. Nor is he a chess piece. Oh, God. You idiot.
Sorry.
That's all right. He grew up with Jason and Kevin Fredericks, and I guess he's like one of Jason's best friends or best friend, but every time they go to Austin, because Kevin and Jason grew up in El Paso, and so anytime they go out there, Bishop makes them barbecue, like not just barbecue, like he made ribs. He made what's it called when it
brisket?
Yes,
I love brisket,
dude. Oh my God, dude, it was amazing. Like we ate before the show and we're like, oh my God, and then we all took plates home, and that night, dude, it was so good. He had mac and cheese. He had these chili poppers, jalapeno poppers.
I love jalapeno poppers.
Oh, man.
Homemade jalapeno poppers? For real?
Yeah.
Homemade.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Dude, that food, that was the, I mean, Tahir was saying he hadn't had any barbecue or brisket since he had the year before.
Yeah, didn't he say he stopped cooking because of...
It's so good, dude. It was so good. So I wanted to give a shout out to him.
I have a that might be my worthless. I don't know yet, but I don't. I need someone to tell me like definitively this is the best barbecue you've ever had, because Yelp means nothing, and I feel like barbecue is something that you need to master for it to be like extraordinarily good, because if you eat bad barbecue, you feel just as full if you eat good barbecue, and I feel like I waste my money. And the last 3 times I've had barbecue, I start to hate barbecue because it's just shit, and then I spend a bunch of money on food I didn't like, and I feel like shit.
Yeah.
So it's just like...
And you look like shit. I mean, barbecue or not.
No, I feel like I look all right. I had a comic the other day tell me I'm a hot bald guy. He was a
guy,
male comedian, yeah, and he was a straight male.
You were like,
so
like he was, you know,
he was a straight.
He was also blind.
He
just
feeling my head in my face.
Oh,
yeah. Anyway,
wait, let's go back into that. How did that conversation start?
Because he said he was gonna. It was Brad. Oh shit.
Garrett.
No.
Upton.
No. I did see Upton at the Comedy and Magic Club this week.
Break.
No, this is this weekend.
Williams?
No. Short ginger,
Dick.
Yeah, short ginger Dick.
Brad.
Why can't I think of his last name? I was just hanging with him.
Brad seems like a really good friend.
I'm bad with fucking names, man. I'm going to look him up.
All right. Well,
I'm going to look him up.
You were talking to Brad so-and-so.
Yeah, and he said I was a hot bald guy.
And what did you do?
Oh, I shit in his Bible.
Jesus.
Oh, nuts. Brad's Stillnutzer.
Let me see it.
This guy.
Dude, it's Brad Stillnutzer.
That's what I said.
Yeah. I don't know if I know Brad.
You don't know Brad?
No. So where were you at?
What do you mean, where was I at?
When you were hanging out with Brad and he was hitting on you.
Oh, the Rec Room.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's a good club.
Did you go up?
I did not. I was there to meet.
Have you been there or gone up there?
Once before it was the Rec Room, when it was a different fucking joint.
Here's a nice little room.
Yeah, I like it.
So you did that. What else did you do this weekend while I was away?
Comedy and Magic.
Nice. Did you go up?
Nope. Just another place just trying to meet.
Hanging out.
Hanging out. I was in the Comedy and Magic Club, and all the comics in there were like at least in their 60s. And it was like 60s, and then it just like started to go down in age. And the conversation was just about their kids. And I'm like, and I was talking with Greg, he's 55 or something like that.
Barrett?
Yeah, and he was saying, he was like, I was telling him, I'm like, I've never been in the room.
Attractive? Oh.
No,
Okay.
Brad. I've never been in a situation like that. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Man, this story
This
sucks.
story does suck. You know what?
Fuck that story.
Move on from that story.
What's your the other stuff I sent you?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I guess we should hit on Stephen Brody Stevens.
Oh, dude.
Sad news.
I wanted to. I just posted. I heard about it, and then it was right before I was going up, and I was like, "Are you shitting me?" And like Kev didn't know him, but Kev was like, he's like, Jason. He calls me Jason. Kevin calls me Jason, my government name. But he's like, Jason. Everybody knew him. I was like, dude, he was the nicest dude, and it's just to show you how much of a unique voice Brody had. Like I was trying to explain to him like the stuff Brody, and it doesn't do justice. And I'm trying to do it, and I'm like, yes, push, positive energy, and he's kind of just like, and then I'm like, just watch this. But I was just about to go out, and I'm like, are you kidding me? And then I'm like, it like really affected me because he's like one of the nicest dudes. Mm-hmm. I was going to write a big long thing about like my memories of him. One story. Were you with me at Flappers when the guy wanted to fight him?
No.
Oh, we're in the main room. I'm just on the side, and so I guess we should preface this for anybody listening that doesn't know. So Stephen Brody Stevens.
Shit. Anyway.
Brody Stevens. He's an amazing comic. He did warm up for Best Damn Sports Show, Chelsea at midnight. Chelsea Handler, or Chelsea Lately. I mean, and he was a Comedy Store guy, and he was a comic that all the comics would watch. Mm-hmm. That's what I mean. That's one thing you read in like all these people's remembering of him. And he suffered from depression, and he had a show, I think for a little bit called Enjoy It.
I don't know.
He's had like I guess they call them psychotic breaks or manic, where he's gone to the hospital and stuff. He was in a psych ward at one point, and like some comics visited him and stuff, and he hung himself. And my memory of, I actually have a couple. One, I remember him coming to the Parlor in Bellevue, Washington. Greg Fitzsimmons was headlining, and Brody comes up to do a guest spot, and I think he was supposed to do maybe 7 to 10, and it's going long, and he's bombing, and he was like Seattle did stand up here, did the Seattle International, placed 13th out of 12 or some shit like that, right. And it got to the point where he kept like trying to get him, and finally Greg comes on. And he comes from around, and he's like, "Brody, get the fuck off!" And he literally just goes, "Oh, sorry, Greg," and then just yes, positive energy push. And then
oh fuck,
that was great. And then we were at Flappers one time, and
Brody, get the fuck off.
yeah, he's like, "What the fuck are you doing? Get the fuck off!" And you know how Fitzsimmons is.
Oh yeah,
which is great. Then we were at Flappers once, and he was headlining the main room, and I might have been in the side room, the Yoo-Hoo, but I was hanging out watching him, which we all would do, and some guy, you know, Brody would always he would interact with the crowd all the time, and he's interacting with some guy that's from Seattle, and so he starts rattling off, you know, 425, 206, you know, 253, all this shit about all his things he knows about the Seattle, and I can't remember what this guy was saying back, but he was being a cunt, and Brody fucking just was laying into him to where it was getting. I loved it. You would have loved it because it was getting uncomfortable.
Yes.
At how much he was ripping this guy, and the guy didn't really have any response, so he was getting pissed, to where he was like starting to stand up, and then like I myself and security basically got him the fuck out of there, and so then from that point on, every time Brody would see me, he would be like. Big J defended my honor at Flappers. You know, the guy tried to fight me. Jay was ready. You know, however he would say it. I can't do it justice, but he would always say that. And yeah, he was. He's such a fucking unique. You know, the comics do impressions of him. You know.
Yeah.
And he's
Phil on this in this very program.
Yes.
Would do a Brody Stevens impression.
Yeah.
And I think tried to adopt it into his own act. He tried to steal from Brody.
Yeah.
You know, you'd hear Phil every day, positive energy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
All the time.
So if you get a chance to look him up, Brody Stevens.
I got Kelsey and I got tickets to At Midnight, or we knew one of the producers of At Midnight. So she was.
Which show? I don't care what time it was.
It was at midnight.
Okay, but what show?
At midnight.
Okay.
All right.
If you don't want to tell me, that's fine.
No, it's a show on Comedy Central.
Oh, what was it?
At midnight.
No, not when. Fucking so dumb. All right, go on.
So the show.
What time do they film that?
Around 10.
So stupid.
So anyway, I didn't realize. It was like, you know, my first couple months here in LA, and I was hating my life, and I too was like
hating your wife.
Dude, no, hating my life.
Oh, sorry.
She was my girlfriend at the time, fiance now, wife in July. So anyway, this story's great.
Just keep
we get placed in the front row, and it's the last place I want to be.
No.
I don't want to be in the front row because I don't know who's going to interact with me, and all of a sudden Brody comes out. And he's hyping up the crowd. He's like, yes, you guys ready for At Midnight? All these points. Everyone's getting points. God, this is great. Positive energy. He just comes out and he goes, you. Looks right at me. And he goes, you, where are you from? And I'm like, no. I don't want anyone talking to me. Because I was feeling, I just didn't want to be there. And he's like, where are you from? And I'm like, Seattle. And he goes, Seattle. I'm from Seattle. Great town. You visiting? How long are you visiting for? I'm like, I live here. And he's like, you're confusing. And then he left. And he went and fucking talked to somebody else.
You're confusing.
And I was like, thank God, please don't talk to me. Because I just didn't want anybody fucking talking to me. I didn't want to. You know that feeling when you're a comic and you're sitting down and you're watching professional comics work? You're like, I'm really depressed right now that this is happening. But he was really funny how he fucking just like, he was like, I'm getting nothing from this guy.
Yeah.
Fuck him.
Yeah.
He walked away.
But this thing is like, if you don't get me, you're dumb. That's my favorite.
I was talking to Greg about it, Barrett, and it's just like that idea. I had this.
Oh God.
What?
I was gonna say your mom or your dad.
Greg Barrett.
You got it. Right, go ahead.
I guess I get it.
It's not good. Go ahead.
But I was just talking to him. I'm like that manic depressive thing. And it's like the best way I could ever understand it. It was when I stopped drinking, and I tell this to everybody who like asks because like when I do jokes about being sober, it's weird how people will come up and they'll be hammered too. Mostly hammered will come up and be like, I'm trying to quit drinking. They're all fucking
like, cheers to you.
Yeah. I'm like, good job. He's like, and I'm like, hey man, just hit me up on Instagram if you need any help or whatever. But anytime someone like asks like what it was like to quit drinking, I equate it to my brain was this kicked over beehive, and it split open and all the bees were released. And booze normally kept the beehive, at least it was a busted beehive.
Like from the audience?
What's that?
From the audience?
From the audience?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
You said booze usually would keep it from...
Oh, I thought you were being sincere.
No, fuck no. Go ahead, keep telling your dumb, sad story.
Jesus.
Go on.
Anyway, but like, you stop and then all of a sudden it's like, the bees are loose because I didn't have booze to like fucking keep them enclosed in there, so I didn't see them. Now they're fucking everywhere, and I'm trying to get them all back in and put them in, and that's the only way I can like equate it to that. And it was the one time in my whole life I ever thought to myself, oh man, if I killed myself, then all the bees would be gone, and I wouldn't have to feel like this anymore.
You had that thought?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember I was here talking to Sean and Kyle, because Kyle, he at one point he tried to kill himself when the guy's like, when he's on the ledge of a bridge, and a cop comes up and just goes, "What are you doing?" And he just like, "Oh, nothing." And the cop just goes, "All right," and just fucking leaves him on the fucking top of a bridge, fucking Mayberry. But they were talking about how like they both have at different times in their lives have thought about killing themselves, and they were like, "Have you ever had that?" And I maybe I just don't remember. I've definitely had where you're like frustrated and you're depressed and like, but I don't think I've ever thought like I should just end this or like or thought of it as like an option. Like
sure,
and.
Alcoholics talk about it a lot because it's just one of those, you're like, man, I feel pretty worthless
this week.
Hey, and
always be plugging. You're actually at a suicide prevention thing. Like sometimes I feel pretty worthless, which comes out every Wednesday on iTunes.
I feel that this week I'm feeling pretty worth it. But yeah, they always talk about like AA rooms are really fucking depressing because like sometimes it's people being like they have like these triumphant stories about how they overcome, and then there's always like 3 guys in a corner shaking, and then they're like, "Who wants to share?" And then those guys raise their hand and they're like, "Yeah, I mean, I'm really holding on by a thread."
Oh man!
So it's like,
and I have palsy because they're shaking.
Yeah, I got it.
Oh man!
All right. I wish you didn't say it. For
I'll
your
edit
sake.
it out.
No.
I'm dumb edit.
Why would you?
I don't know.
You're a bad editor and bad co-host, fan, friend, person.
Oh,
but yeah.
So why didn't you do it?
Kill myself? I was outside.
What are we doing?
I remember I was outside.
By the way, for those watching or listening to this, I should apologize. I literally am on 4 minutes sleep.
Why didn't you go to sleep? Why didn't
Dude, you know what it was? Don't forget your story.
Okay.
And I'll tell you really quick. So we got done with our show, we went and got something to eat, hung out with Jason and Bishop and his family, and then went back to the hotel, and I was messing around on the laptop trying to get my ducks in a row because these next 2 days are going to be crazy before we leave for another show. But it was one of those deals where I just started to fall asleep and then like snapped awake and then could not go back to sleep.
Oh.
And so I honestly, I probably maybe if I was lucky got maybe like 30 minutes sleep.
You got to sleep, man.
Oh, I'm going to after all this. So finish your story. Sorry.
Anyway, no, I was just to kind of go back to the thing, not to like bring everybody down, but it was just I remember I was outside the SAG office and I was just like not doing well, and I'm like looking and the office is right next to a bus stop, and I see this bus coming, and I can see it's not gonna stop at this particular station.
Oh man!
And it's just cruising by, and I felt myself jolt forward, and then I saw it all in my head. I saw myself run and leap, and then the bus just goes and it was over. And then I told I told Greg that, and he goes, "Yep." He's
like, "Oh, the number 7."
Yeah. He goes, "Yeah." He's like, when you find out, all of a sudden, you're like, anytime you tell somebody who's like thought that way, they laugh at that kind of shit because they're like, "Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny." Like, not me. What I would do is like, I just was like next to one of those cliffs that didn't have a railing, and I just thought, "Here,
dude." And I think there's a certain term for also like when you're like on a building or looking over something and you have that urge to jump, even if it's not like I'm depressed or I don't want to live, but you have like this weird urge like, I should jump.
Yeah.
I think there's like a term for it. I don't know what it is because we're not smart.
No.
And but yeah,
it's
I get vertigo now too. Like when I look over stuff.
Who are you, Tony Baker?
Nailed it.
What else? So all right.
Well, so check out Brody.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Brody. We all love you.
Yeah,
He's one of the nicest, just the sweetest guy.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if you met him once, he would remember your name. He would remember weird shit about you. Like, if you just had a 5-minute conversation with him, and not just like, I mean, with anybody, it was crazy. Like, he would remember you, and he would remember these little details that you're like, wow, the fuck do you know that?
Like, I remember that, but why do you remember that?
Yeah, and was nice to everybody. Like, he made everybody feel like that you were like one of his best buddies.
Yeah.
Even if you only interact with him on a few times,
And I didn't know him that well, and I feel really bad for all the guys that did, because it's that Batman Begins thing. Remember what Roz says to Bruce, where he's like, you find yourself wishing that the person you loved didn't exist because it would spare you all this pain.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at Instagram and
so many,
and it's just like, Adam Ray and fucking all these dudes who are.
Did you see Augie's story?
Mm-mm.
Augie Smith had a great story. Augie's a great comic, and I'll kind of butcher this story. So Augie was in, I think he was with Brody out on the road somewhere. They woke up. Augie said he had he didn't sleep well or whatever. He was grumpy. They went to McDonald's, and he was kind of short with the lady there that was ordering. And so Brody goes, "You need to apologize to her. And he just kept, go apologize to her. So they walk up there, and Brody goes, "Attention, everyone," like stops everything. "My friend Augie would like to apologize to Teresa here." And so Augie's like, "Hey, I'm sorry. I snapped at you. I was a little short. It's not you. I just blah, blah, blah." And then Brody was like, "Teresa, do you accept Augie's apology? I believe it's sincere, but I don't know, but I think it's sincere. Do you accept his apology?" And she said, "Yes." He goes, "Yes, positive energy, everyone." And everybody starts clapping, dude. And that's like an example of how, Brody was. And
yeah, I felt like you're seeing all these people who were posting, and I felt that impulse to post something like, "Hey, here's another one of a fallen comic."
Yeah.
But I didn't, because it didn't feel genuine. Like, I didn't know him like these other guys, so it would just be like bait on my end, and I didn't want to. It felt gross even having the idea to post something like that, because I only have the one story. I did open for him at the Improv one time, but we didn't interact because he showed up, and then he sold out crowd. He just drops the mic and walks into the crowd, and he just starts fucking with everybody, and everybody's loving it. And so those are like my two. But then he had to like get out real quick, so I didn't have any real connection with Brody other than the fact that we're both from Seattle and that we're both comics.
Yeah.
So I just was like, nah, leave that to there's other people, better people that knew him to do that. So all that to say is, I have seen people who didn't know him post about it, and it's a little, it's like, come on, man. You don't be gross.
Yeah.
Be respectful.
Do you? I remember I was listening to the Remembering Patrice thing, which, you know, I have that one saved. Bobby Kelly, Dan Soder, Dane Cook, and Joe DeRosa. And then when Patrice O'Neal passed away, they were saying that, like, Patrice couldn't stand, or he, like, was not friends with him, was like, oh, such a sad passing, blah, blah, blah. And then within the same thing, I'll be at the Improv in Fort Lauderdale this week. And they're like, oh, you scumbag.
Oh, what a fucking piece of shit.
Did you read John Roy's thing? Mm-mm. He had a good story about Brody. I'll tell this one and then we'll move on. But so I guess there was a show. I don't know if it was at the Improv. It was one of the main clubs. I think it was the Improv. And it was like a early show, and it was an industry show, and all these industry guys were required to go to it. So that is a setup for a shitty show. And John Roy's telling the story that the comics on this show are like the biggest names you can think of are on this show. Like 6 comics are going up. They're all eating their balls, bombing. And he said, in the story, he goes, you have to understand the term hip pocket. These agents and managers, they hip pocket you, where they keep you on their roster, but they don't really do anything for you, but they just keep you in their hip pocket. So if something does happen for you, they can be like, oh, you're on our roster, so you're a part of it, right?
Right.
The reason you have to know that term is so Brody goes up there, and he's looking at him, he's like, you think I'm scared of you? He goes, I hip pocket you to one of the fucking things. Whole room fucking erupts. And he broke him and then just killed. And then the rest of the show, every comic, John Roy said, did great because of Brody. Brody was the only one that figured it out.
Wow.
Yeah, of all these big names that were on before him. But I can just see that too. He's like, you think I'm scared of you? I hip pocket you. That's fucking so great.
Dude, I wish he was just...
alive?
Yeah. As I was saying it, I was like,
Is that what you're about to say?
No. Not that I wish he was alive. Just like...
You don't wish he was alive?
Oh, my God. Never mind.
No, go on.
No, it's just how many times you've been in those situations that you could have used Brody. You could have just been like, oh, man, if Brody was here to do this, to open the show up, to help us all out. Like, that's essentially who he was to everybody. Everybody you read, it's like, this guy made my night.
Yeah.
Like,
dude.
he went on, you got to watch him kill. He made me laugh, a comic, which is, difficult to do for comics a lot of the time. And then he's also a great friend, a great person.
Yeah. And it's so crazy how good he made everybody else feel. Mm-hmm. And yet, he was so, he was in pain, or however you want to put it,
Yeah.
It's
that beehive, yo.
Yeah. All those bees be tripping. All right. What else we got?
All right.
Rest in peace, Brody.
Yes, Brody. Sketch filming. Here.
Oh, that's I got to talk to you.
I know, we already did that one. Sketch filming. Best white R&B.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about this, and then we never did it on the last one.
Yeah.
Best blue-eyed R&B.
Yeah.
You got Justin Timberlake.
JT.
You got Michael McDonald. That's my vote. All right.
That's my vote, too.
No, you got Hall & Oates. Hall & Oates is up there.
Hall & Oates, yeah.
Who else? I mean, you got Tina Marie. Do you know her?
Tina Marie.
Oh, man. Here, let me see your phone.
Tina Marie.
Bring up Tina Marie on YouTube.
Tina Marie. Tina Marie.
It's before your
Who's the
time,
one that you sent?
Michael McDonald or
no? When we were talking about this, I was in Seattle. Tina Marie songs. Let's just do a quick YouTube mix. Oh my God,
that's great.
Jesus,
her voice has really changed over time. They're gonna take it down if you play it too much on YouTube. Can't play it. Who else? There's Tina Marie. I was asking.
Tried to say Amy Winehouse.
Amy Winehouse, yes.
But she's like
R&B,
lounge,
blues, rhythm and blues.
She's more of like
jazz, contemporary,
jazz, blues, but not
rhythm and blues.
I don't know. I would say nay to Amy Winehouse, even though I think she belongs in her own category. I think she belongs in the Amy Winehouse category.
Who else could be in that category?
Just Amy Winehouse.
Amy fucking Winehouse.
I think Gaga's pretty good too. But she's a pop star.
Who else?
Who else?
who are blue-eyed. Do a search blue-eyed R&B on your phone. Let's see what comes
Blue-eyed
up.
R&B.
Boz Scaggs, I mentioned that.
Yeah, Boz Scaggs. Blue R N
I'm
B.
trying to think off the top of my head where people right now are probably just
singers.
furious we can't think of some and they're yelling them. You're like, you dummies, what about so-and-so?
What about Who's It's? Okay, so Michael Bolton. Simply Red. Bee Gees.
They're more disco.
I like Bee Gees, though.
I do too. I like them too.
Boy George.
What the? What did you?
This is what the... Robin Thicke.
Yeah.
Sting, no. Elton John, no. Lisa Stansfield.
What about Billy Joel? Would he be in there?
No.
What's he?
He's Piano Man, right?
Yeah.
So I would say he's more just like soft rock.
Kenny Loggins. He has a couple.
Kenny Loggins, sure.
Maybe. Doobie Brothers. You got. I mean, that's Michael McDonald too. But who else? I don't know if they'd be.
I mean, we both just agree. You said Boz Scaggs, right?
Yeah, he's in there.
I mean, we already both agree that it's Michael.
I think it's Michael Bolton.
Yeah.
Michael McDonald. That's almost Michael Bolton. I'd say it comes down to Michael McDonald, Hall & Oates, and Amy Winehouse.
It's not Amy Winehouse. I would say Timberlake, because
Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, after NSYNC, he moved on with Pharrell and Timbaland. So I would say, you know, their beats combined with his vocals, I would put him in the R&B category. So I mean, Timberlake's up there.
So who are you going with?
Michael Bolton.
Okay, I'll take Michael McDonald. Okay, we got it.
McDonald.
Everybody heard it.
No, McDonald. God.
Yeah, dude, we were listening to it this weekend too. We were driving from Austin to San Antonio, and I was in charge of the radio.
Oh.
So I put in some Michael McDonald, and it was funny because Kev was like, he filmed it and put it up. He's like, when Jay's in control of the radio, this is what we listen to. And then all weekend he couldn't stop singing it.
Yes, Michael McDonald's amazing. Or how about I can't forget when I don't love anymore? Or the best, him and Patti LaBelle.
Oh, gosh. I don't know if that's the best. I think the best.
Oh, I love that fucking. They're just they get a divorce and then they're trying to figure out how to stay together. Oh, they don't know what they're doing.
I think I'll go with Michael. He's just dude. And the thing is, I posted the video the other day when I presented the question. He's still on point. Like, still sounds great.
So many times said we'd be forever.
I'm gonna make that the clip.
Yeah.
I love the ear thing.
Yeah. You walked out of my life, and we weren't even married.
Oh God.
On my own. Oh, so good.
Dogs are barking.
Kelsey hates
you?
that song. Yeah,
Oh.
that too. Anytime that song is on, she gets visibly upset.
Why?
Because she just can't stand that old timey.
What? What's she like?
She likes like early 2000s.
Man.
I know.
Who would you now? The originators. Who would you say is the best R&B of all time? Oh man.
Of all time. I mean, you make a real strong case for Belle Biv DeVoe.
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson. Jackson 5 for sure.
Oh, Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Stevie Wonder.
Stevie Wonder.
Ooh, Stevie might be hard to beat.
Yeah. Yum. What about Ray? You consider Ray Charles?
Yeah. Then you got James Brown. Oh man, that's
Brown.
this will take 5 hours if we do.
know.
So we'll just stick with Michael McDonald for the the blue-eyed R&B. I keep forgetting not in love anymore. I keep forgetting. Oh man, it's so good. Anyways, what else we got on the docket?
That's it.
All right.
That's the end of the. I think that's the end of the show, unless we get into our worthless of the week.
Well, yeah, we got to do our worthless.
Let's get into our worthless of the week.
Do it.
I don't wanna.
Who's your worthless?
Actually, I have a worthy.
Okay. Worthy or worth it?
Worthy or worth it? Worth it. That's our movie review. It's either worthless or worth it. And I would say Fighting with My Family is
What's that?
that wrestling movie about the.
Oh, you saw it?
Yeah, the British.
Is
the
it good?
British chick. Oh,
I heard it's good.
it's so good, and I had a few allergy attacks during the movie.
Oh boy. Oh, really?
Just there's parts where she like.
And it's a true story, right?
Yeah.
Who is it that it's based on?
Paige. That's her wrestling name, and Sienna or something like that. Anyway, she starts out in a small town in England, and the family's all about wrestling. And the family's great, and it's written by Stephen Merchant. It's written and directed by Stephen Merchant. He does a lot of work with he co-creator of The Office with Ricky Gervais. And I mean, this dude's, I already love him. He's hilarious. But then he's like a really good writer, director. And for him to pick this movie of all movies, Vince Vaughn's great as the guy. He has like this horn, and he's like, he's like, if this ain't for you, hit the horn and we'll get you out. You go grab it like that. But she just feels out of place. She also is like, it's a great story centered around like it's her dream, but you think like the brother in some way, shape, or form is gonna be like he's gonna fit into this because it's his dream too, right? Yeah. But she doesn't believe in herself enough to like fully embrace that this was always her dream until she's in the shit. Yeah. And it looks hard as fuck. They also have to do not only do they do like really hardcore weight training, to be able to have your body be ready for this type of shit, but they also do mic training. Oh yeah. Which I think is the scarier part. Huh. It's like you have to do you have to flip a tire and fucking drag somebody across the sand, do all this Rocky shit, but then they're like, okay, we're gonna heckle you for about 10 minutes. Let's see how you handle it. It's like, fuck. If you're not a comic, even if you are a comic, that's still pretty brutal to sit there and go, oh, how do I? Everyone's looking at me.
Do you remember when they did that in Last Comic Standing?
Yes, that was amazing. Yeah, I loved that.
What's her name? Rebecca Corey. She went up against, I think it was Roz, the big black lady. Yeah. Oh, dude. And Roz just grilled her, wouldn't let her talk. She just was so loud.
My favorite was the fact that Gabriel Iglesias did nothing but laugh at Bill Dwyer.
But just obnoxious laugh.
He'd be like, so Bill would just blah, 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 punchline, and then Gabriel would be like, ah! And he'd be pushing other fucking. Dude. That was my favorite one.
Oh, fuck. So you say that movie's worth it?
Definitely worth it.
I saw Bohemian Rhapsody on the plane.
Oh, what'd you think?
Did you see it?
Yeah.
Really interesting, and I liked it.
Worthless.
You don't like it?
I hated it.
Why?
I mean, it's unnecessary.
Oh, yeah. You were saying
they changed.
It's kind of like you don't really. Bunch. You didn't learn. You what?
They changed a bunch.
What do you mean?
The band never broke up. At no point. He wasn't the first. Freddie Mercury wasn't the first one to leave Queen. It was one of the guitarists. Was try to go solo. It was public. It was public information that he was dying before Live Aid. Live Aid wasn't their big comeback.
Oh yeah.
It was stupid.
Yeah, but other than those things, other than it being 100% wrong,
and they make him seem like I watched recently, and it's like these two movies have the similar problem, where Without Limits, which is the story of the runner Steve Prefontaine.
Oh yeah.
Where they make both guys out to be these vainglorious assholes that are only consumed with themselves and their vision and how everything works around them, when really behind the scenes they're fucking helping people. They're doing what they can to raise money for. They're using their position, their wealth and power to help the less fortunate, and then they just don't show that shit. They're like, look how great he thinks he is. Can we humble him? Let's humble him. Let's put him in a position where he has to beg for his position back, which never fucking happened. So I'm just sitting there watching the movie like, that didn't happen, that didn't happen, that didn't happen. Fuck this movie.
That you're when the movie Dragon came out about the Bruce Lee story, we went and saw it, and Cijo, my old instructor, who was one of Bruce Lee's students, he walked out after like 5 minutes because he was so fucking annoyed, just the horse shit in it.
Fucking Taylor Tomlinson, because the Oscars were last night. She hit me up and she goes, because we saw it together, and she was like, "Hey, did we like Bohemian Rhapsody?" She couldn't remember, and I'm like, "No, we didn't."
He was great though as Freddie Mercury.
Oh, he's amazing.
And now I'm like, I want to know if this story was true, because I thought it was dope if it was true about them saying they wanted to have their fans feel like they were part of the band.
Yes.
So, is that true?
I mean, that might be true. I really don't know, but I think that was a lot of what made Queen special, was that, you know, they made the other thing, the character that doesn't want Bohemian Rhapsody.
Michael
was played by Mike Myers, which is a nod to Wayne's World when they fucking lose their shit in the car. That guy doesn't exist. That's not a real person.
Okay.
So they made up a character for Mike Myers to play, which I'm fine with Mike Myers being in the movie.
Yeah.
I like that nod, and then I got it.
Yeah, and they also like spoon-fed it, because they're like, people aren't going to be banging their head to this, and you're like, oh. Boy.
Yeah, it's like, we get it.
Yeah.
But I like Mike Myers and stuff. I wish he was in more stuff. But, yeah, dog shit. What made... We all know that Freddie Mercury, the frontman, the amazing singer and all that, elevated them. Oh, the other thing?
Yes.
Sorry. The other thing is fucking Freddie Mercury knew the other lead singer in the band. They were like flatmates or something. And then that was his fucking...
Hold the fuck
That's what they called him.
I don't give a fuck. You don't. Flatmates? They're roommates.
They said. Roommates, whatever.
Ugh,
British
gross.
roommates. They say flatmates. They live in a flat. We live in a room, apparently. So anyway, they were...
Go on.
They were flatmates, Jason.
Fucking flat story.
And that was his introduction. He didn't stumble upon them in the fucking parking lot and just sing... He didn't do that shit. I hate that movie.
All right, well, I guess I didn't like it.
I probably like Dragon though. I'm sure there was a point when I was watching it, I'm like, wow, that really happened to Bruce Lee? What are the odds?
Yeah, there's a lot of, oh man, like they make Jesse Glover was Bruce Lee's like first student, and he's like, anytime there's a Bruce Lee like movie, it's the black guy that's his buddy, and in this one, it was like Jesse Glover. It was in San Francisco. It was in Seattle that it happened.
Right.
And
what's the point of doing that? Especially,
I don't know.
Especially as we get
maybe for filming, they're like, let's just film this all in California.
I just don't understand why change that when you know we're gonna know.
Well,
especially in the information
like most
days.
people, I know it, but I mean, if I hadn't told you, would you know that Bruce Lee's first student, Jesse Glover, was in Seattle versus San Francisco?
I would have known that, but why change that? Because later on, if I'm intrigued by the story of Bruce Lee, let's say I've never heard of Bruce Lee ever in my entire life, and then I watch Dragon, and I'm like, oh shit, I want to know about the real guy. So then I go deep diving into a thing that they were doing previously to make a movie, and then I find all of these things that aren't true. Why? Just do the story. The story itself is interesting when it was.
I'm gonna
That's
really
what
piss
made
you off.
him popular.
I'm gonna really piss you off. That's my worthless of the week. When movies don't fucking stick to the facts.
Yes.
And they just that's mine. That's mine, though.
That's not yours.
I just said it. I said that's
I have two. Worthless and worth it. You know what? Fine. You can have that one. I maintain Bohemian Rhapsody is a giant hunk of shite, and that's how it...
oh, God. Flatmate shite.
Yeah, it's shite. Oh, let's just take a hoity-toity. I think it's despicable. Just tell the fucking story. as it was when it was. This guy, they're interesting people. That's why we know of them. Then you make a movie about them, and then you change some stuff to make it more interesting. It was interesting. That's why you're fucking there with a camera turned on to record actors pretending to be those people. Fuck! Anyway, we have a Patreon page.
Tell them about it, King.
Yeah, so we just launched the HollingsWorthless program.
New Patreon
page. It's different from the one we launched before. So, Kev the skier and Portland John and fucking Joey Moles. We got a new one. Go to patreon.com/the HollingsWorthless program.
And what's on there?
Oh, man. We got, you know what? I'll pull it up right now. And while I do that, why don't you plug where we're going to be? Because it's
Sure. So this comes out Wednesday. Wednesday, I will be in San Jose with the real comedians of social media, Kev on stage, and to hear more, Tony Baker again getting better. You can go to kevonstage.com to see where that's at. It may be sold out already. This weekend I will be at the Woo Ha Ha in Worcester. And then the following week I will be at Laugh Boston, and then St. Patty's Day weekend I'll be at Nick's Comedy Stop.
Beautiful. So
3 weeks in Boston.
Put the link in the description.
Don't tell me what to do.
So you can find the link in the description wherever you listen to this show. But again, patreon.com/the HollingsWorthless program. Our first tier is worthless. It's basically just $1.
Yeah.
You just donate $1, and we.
Hey, you're not worthless though.
No, you're not worthless. We're worthless.
Yeah.
We're the worthless program, and it's just a support part. You can donate there. Our next tier, #worthy. You want more of the show you love? You are worthy of this tier. With this tier, you get 2 bonus episodes a month with a shout out for the support. We also want to know what you think is worthy or worthless of the week. Send in your topics you want myself and Jason to cover on our Patreon episodes. There's also the HollingsWorthless program at email.com. Our next tier is Worth It. This is for movie buffs.
Worth it.
Moviegoers and or general lovers of cinema. This one is a hefty tier. You get the 2 bonus episodes we said prior. Your worthy and worthless shout-outs. With this one, you also get a #worthy shirt, courtesy of our friends over at Lab 1419. It's also a movie podcast tier. So with this tier, you tell us which movie you want us to watch that you either love or hate, and we watch it, and then we do a whole episode, we review it, and we give you our opinion, our real opinion on the movie.
We're not going to just say it's great because you asked us to do it.
Yeah. And we're not going to say it's bad just because you asked us to say
And you
it's
could also
bad.
just, if you want us to just watch a shit movie, because I get it, misery loves company. If you're like, I watched, like the movie Bug. Did you ever see Bug?
No, but I've heard.
It is the biggest fucking turd.
Yes.
Anyways.
So there's that tier. The next tier is the hoity-toity tier.
Hoity-toity.
You think you're better than us. What are you, hoity-toity? Welcome to the hoity-toity tier. It's basically everything from before. You get the 2 bonus episodes.
With you.
The movie podcast episode. You get a #worthless t-shirt. And with several A's, 2 N's, and a D, you get this. We give you an originally made by Jay hoity-toity t-shirt.
The sweatshop somewhere?
I mean, you made the logo.
I hit submit, and then they fucking...
Jesus. Okay, whatever. Fine. We have a fancy,
it is a dope shirt, though.
Yeah, we have a fancy hoity-toity shirt.
Hoity-toity.
All come in a worthless box.
Yeah.
That we'll send to you when you sign up for this. And so the next one, this is my absolute favorite tier, and I am looking forward to the day this happens.
Which you'll never will.
I hope it does. That would be great.
Oh, yeah.
This one is called the almost $10,000 tier. For the almost $10,000, so $999.99. You get to have the baller ass guests of the program. We give you a #worthy shirt, hoity-toity shirts.
All the shit from before.
We have also some secret merch.
Yeah.
Secret hoodies, all kinds of stuff. All the Guinness you can drink. And we fly you to California.
Yes.
Put you up in a hotel and have you on as baller ass guest for the almost $10,000. It's all the money you can buy. That's about almost $10,000. So that's our Worthless program again. Anything you guys want to add to the show? Put it all in the Hollingsworthless. You can also find me at Kane Holloway on Instagram, at Big Irish J.
Man, you're on it.
Send your Worthless and Worthies or Worth It's There, your movies and all that shit.
And your hoity-toities.
Yeah.
Somebody being hoity-toity, and if you don't know what hoity-toity is, how would you describe somebody that thinks they're fancy?
Yeah, someone who gets in your face and you're like, this motherfucker.
Like Kev upgraded to first class on a 2-hour flight today. Very hoity-toity.
Oh, it's very hoity-toity. You can't sit and coach with the rest of us.
Exactly, us peasants.
Yeah, sitting elbows to elbows, ass to ass.
We said it too, and he did it. I'm watching him, like we're checking in, and he's like, he looks at me, he looks at me, and he's like, that's like, oh, aren't you hoity-toity?
Oh, look at you. He probably went like this to his mustache. Anyway, so yeah, that's our Patreon page.
I'm about to plug something else, and you're going to love it. March 27th. You know what it is? Or is it March 24th?
24th.
Okay, go.
All right, March 24th, I'll be at the Ice House in Pasadena.
I got it on my calendar.
Ice House Comedy Club.
2 shows.
2 shows, 7 o'clock and a 9 p.m. I'll be recording my album. 2 different sets come out. It's going to be great. It's going to be published by 800 Pound Gorilla.
Oh, nice.
They're going to throw it up on Sirius.
Dude, dope.
And all the comedy channels. And maybe that will make its way in to the hoity-toity box.
Hoity-toity.
When we get the download.
Do you know what your album's going to be called?
Yeah. I can't see straight.
Okay, but what are you going to call it?
At midnight.
All right. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
Yes.
And we got to bust out some podcasts. So for now, we will say...